It is now possible to acquire second citizenship from many countries. However, the question remains, why do people consider second citizenship? Whilst some of the reasons are more self-explanatory, a few of the points that we will mention in this video will explain ones you might have missed. To be in possession of dual citizenship and secondary residency is more than just a document. While the benefits gathered differ from one product to another, the below list summarizes the results of investing in citizenship and residency. The truth is that the country where you are born determines the way your life will unfold and later on that of your children. So if you could choose where to have your citizenship, would you change it? Let's explore the freedom of movement. The fundamental reason a person opts for secondary citizenship is freedom. Freedom of education for all your children, equal rights independent of gender or race, clean environment, safe environment, work opportunities, ability to travel, and freedom of speech and self-expression. If you may live in a more developed country where you never questioned your freedom of expression, consider yourself lucky. Whilst this may seem reasonable, we can guarantee that this is not the case for a large number of countries and their inhabitants. Let us explain. It is a fact that no one can choose as to where they want to be born. You might not know it, but where you are born determines a substantial part of your life. The country you take birth in, the parents you are born to, whether you have access to education and wealth or not. The list continues to whether you live in an oppressive regime and wish for equal rights or live too close to polluted environments. Most of the people in the developed world take these freedom rights for granted. Nevertheless, the reality is that even the neighborhood surroundings as a child will be a determining factor if you will succeed in life. For the ones who beat the odds and come from environments that are not easy or at the very least are more difficult from others, they now have options. You can ensure that your family enjoy those freedoms that the Western world, European Union, United States, Canada, Australia, take for granted. As an established individual, you can acquire citizenship through investment and secure your family's future. Ease of travel. They say travel broadens the mind. However, does this saying still stand if your passport does grant you to travel as you wish? Taking a look at your passport, you can easily tell if you have the opportunity to visit countries of your choice freely. The vast majority who do not have this luxury will have to apply for a visa each time they travel. Applying for a visa takes time, expensive, and not guaranteed. You are stuck in your country and will be prohibited from traveling either for business or for leisure. Should you be granted a visa, you should note that this is not permanent and you will need to reapply. This constant renewal of a visa turns out to be a long and tedious process. On the other hand, this might be very different from your situation. If you come from one of the countries which have an excellent credit rating, the odds are that you would have a very powerful passport. Different countries have different strengths in their travel documents. The Caribbean countries where you can get citizenship by investment typically have entry rights to 130 plus countries. Economic stability. Different countries operate under different economies. Of those regimes, you have countries which are more stable, resulting in a predictable economy. Naturally, there are countries with an ever-fluctuating economy. Business people always worry about the future of their companies. They want to have their master holding company in a jurisdiction which gives them protection. A jurisdiction with defined and clear rights along with adequate laws and transparency of the judicial process in case something goes wrong. Such transparency with definite laws is more common in developed countries. If you decide that you want to have a holding company either for your business or for your assets, it does help if you are a resident or citizen of that country. Citizenship ensures that in the eyes of the law, you are recognized. No country is immune to the nature of the economy. This is a fact of life. There are a few countries in the world which have survived incredibly long periods without a recession. Still, the fact of the matter is that sooner or later, there tends to be a downturn. Though the severity of the downturn can differ from country to country. The economic stability doesn't always guarantee that the country will not experience a slowdown or recession because, realistically, every country passes through it. If you had to plot it on a chart, more moderate growth with the more moderate corrections, rather than fast growth and high-speed crashes. Physical safety. There are countries around the world where you need to live in gated compounds and where there are armed personnel at the gates. Where if you stop at red lights you can end up with a gun against your head. If you go down the wrong alley, you will be in trouble. This ends up as a very stressful living situation. You might be living well, but you will always be concerned that you will be attacked or your children kidnapped or extorted. You're in constant danger and uneasy. One of the things people look out for when they have wealth is the possibility to relocate their family to a safe environment where they do not need to worry about what will happen to them when they get out of the house. This is possible with second citizenship, which will grant you freedom of movement to safer countries. Child education through second citizenship. The fifth reason to consider second citizenship is for your children and their education. Every culture around the world tends to put a tremendous amount of emphasis on developing their children. This is consistent throughout cultures where they take great pride in promoting their children going forward. It remains the fact that certain countries have far higher education quality than others. Parents often feel that they must have the best education to be able to compete with countries that are at the forefront. Status symbol. And finally, we have status. How would you like to become a member of a very exclusive club? For people who have a yacht, a jet, a home in London, a condo in New York and a villa in the south of France, spending €1 million on citizenship is also a status symbol to add to that list. The ones which denote the most rights are the most expensive. Whether or not you may, or may not need, all of the benefits immediately is irrelevant. However, you can show your friends that you have this ultimate calling card which you can be used for future endeavors.